Perfecto Castro here, and welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. We are here at Sweetwater Gear Fest 2023 for a special episode of PERFTalk, and I am with none other than the amazing Don Carr.
Amazing, yeah, amazing. Thanks, man. You're nice, man. You're way too nice.
No, dude. It's every time you play, I have to stop what I'm doing and just like try to zoom in on what you're doing and just glean off some of it. You know?
Man. Nah, you sound great, dude.
Oh,
dude, man.
Thank you.
Hey, dude, by the way, that was fun jamming today.
It was a fun jam.
Fun.
Yeah, we took it to some places, didn't we?
we were going straight down the highway, and then all of a sudden we veered off. We got on the shoulder, and then we just like took a side road.
Side road.
Then we came back to the main.
Yeah, came back to the main and took in a lot of very interesting sights.
Yeah, indeed.
That's great.
Indeed.
Great ball of yarn.
Yeah.
Upside down barn.
It's the world's largest chicken statue. We saw that one too. That was good.
Exactly. Okay, so I met Don at I've known Don for a long time. I watch him all the time. And I met him in person for the first time at Rig Builders.
Yeah, that's right. Rig Builders.
Rig Builders here at Sweetwater.
Yeah.
Click on the card above to go watch that episode after. Well, no, I'll just put it on the end card. That way they keep watching this.
There you go. They got to watch all this first.
Yeah, exactly. And while filming that episode, like I said, every time he plays, I have to stop. And there was actually a moment there where we sort of forgot everybody else was in the room.
I know.
How'd you do that?
And they were getting pretty impatient with us.
Yeah.
So that was great.
Yeah,
because we were like talking licks,
Exactly. And that ended up on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
So we figured we were gonna hold that session here where nobody can cut it out.
Get the stuff you want.
Exactly. And we're gonna show everything to all you guys. Okay. So tell me a little bit about your background. I know that you play a lot of country, and you've played with country acts.
Right.
But then when I see you play, it's not just that.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of other stuff peppered into your playing. So I wanna get into all the stuff behind it first.
Okay, well, probably like everybody else my age, I'm a little bit older, but like everybody else my age, it's like we all started as rock guitar players because that was the popular thing. It was like, my first influence was Ace Frehley. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, that was hooked. That's all I needed to hear was Firehouse, man. I was like, oh, are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, this is so good. No, so that is, so it kind of starts there, and then I was 14 when the first Van Halen record came out.
Oof, yeah.
So I was like, all of a sudden, giant paradigm shift in the world. I was like, what is this crazy, alien nonsense? So, so you go down that road and you follow that, and then that branches off into everything else. And it's interesting. That was late '70s, early '80s. There was like a real explosion in music in a lot of different directions.
Yes.
Because you had like your Journey, Foreigner, Boston super pop that was still guitar oriented, and then you had the prog stuff that was just going completely nuts, and like even Rush and that kind of stuff too. So all those, and the rock elements, of course, I really kind of chasing Van Halen's thing at that point. So all these elements were just blowing up all at once, and so I'm trying to take all of that in, and then all of a sudden over here somewhere I hear George Benson and those guys. I'm like, what? Chet Atkins, and I'm like, what? Wait a minute, hold time out. These guys are playing guitar. What are they doing? I don't even know what that is, So you start kind of dabbling in that, and then I ended up going to school. I went to 3 different schools actually. I went to University of Evansville in Evansville, Indiana, and then I went to North Texas State University and ended up at Belmont. So I got kind of a good overview. I wanted to go to Belmont because I knew I could work.
Okay.
North Texas State was great because I was getting a lot of jazz information there. And just, man, I've got stuff I'm still working on, from when I went to college in 1985, right?
Nice.
So it's like, so that was like, a whirlwind. So all that stuff kind of blended all at once. But really, and at the bottom line, I just wanted to work, man. I wanted to play, I wanted to create music, I wanted to be, that's why I started doing this in the first place. I started playing club gigs. I had a house gig when I was 15.
Wow.
I was playing every weekend.
How'd you get into the club?
Well, it was funny, man. So So a friend of mine who was a drummer, Jeff McKinney, his parents were a band, right? And they needed a guitar player, and so it was like, okay, well, you know, on the breaks you have to leave the club. So Jeff and I would go leave the club because we were underage.
That's amazing.
Isn't that funny, man? Yeah. And that was man, long enough ago. I mean, man, really dating myself here, but long enough ago that the drinking age was still 18.
Okay.
So we were kind of on the border, right? You know, so it wasn't so bad, right? We were 15 and 16, right? So still like, okay, you kids get out of here, you know.
Yeah.
But and then of course his parents were kind of the chaperones anyway.
Okay.
The point is, I learned so much doing that, you know. And then I also had an original band that we played a bunch of covers to, and we actually recorded in a studio, and we won like a regional album contest thing, you know, and had a shot at the big time or whatever. Yeah. All right. Yeah. As those things go. But so all that blended in together, and then, like I said, ended up at Belmont, ended up in Nashville, and then immediately started working, because at that time in Nashville, it was a lot smaller community, and there was still quite a bit of work going on.
Okay.
Which was great, and there was a lot of emerging artists in Nashville at that time looking for young bands, looking for somebody that had a little more of a rock background. Okay. So I'm all of a sudden immediately blending country and rock, and then at that time too, the other giant like explosion of like information was Brent Mason was playing in a club at that time. He wasn't the Brent Mason we know.
Yeah.
He was playing in a club, and so I'd go down and watch him play.
Wow.
And it was like mind-blowing, because he was, I don't want to say fully formed, because everybody learns their whole life, but man, he was 25, 26 years old. His whole thing was fully formed. So I mean, he was crushing it, man.
So that was like a weekly masterclass for you then.
Yeah. And then there were a bunch of other people doing that. Buddy Emmons and Phil Baugh, Phil Baugh is another guy that's worth looking back at in history. He was a pretty amazing guitar player. But you know, all those older guys were always jazz informed anyway, right? And so they were, you know, so that was kind of where they were headed. And so when Phil and Buddy would play, you know, at a club in town, it was just like, you know, it was just like all bets are off, man. Everything's fair game. You know, we're gonna just crush it with notes, man. Nice. We're gonna just destroy your brain. And so I was getting fed all of that, and working, and you know, getting artist gigs and recording in the studio, and then meeting other players. And so, man, it's just a lot that happened really quick. And I also had original rock bands, and you know, so we were writing and we were recording that stuff in the studio. Real mix. And so fast forward, you know, 100 years later, here we are now. You know, I'm 190 years old, and so I've got all that experience in there, and all that kind of comes out at once, which is weird. Which, I mean, is kind of speaks to your point. It's like you're like coming up cold. You hear me and you go, wait a minute, you're a country guy, but that's not country. Wait a minute, that sounds like rock. But wait a minute, that's not really rock though. What is that? You know?
Yeah, it's like you hear something familiar, and then suddenly it's like, wait, where's it going?
Yeah. So I've just created, like, for me personally, and it's my own personal entertainment, but I've created a giant bag that I can draw from any direction. Okay. You know, I've always enjoyed that, man. I've always enjoyed players like John Scofield.
Okay, yeah.
You know, has a giant harmonic knowledge, but you know, when it finally gets down to it, he might go.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, he might do one of those, right? Like at the apex of the solo, right, you know, or a you know, right? You might do one of those.
Scott Henderson does that too.
Exactly,
like really squeeze that note, right? And then suddenly, like, oh, where's he going?
Yeah, and it's just all blues. It's like straight, you know, just out of the 101 Blues Handbook, man. Right. You know, it's exactly. Scott Henderson's another one, man. You know, just giant harmonic information, crazy ability, but then we'll just play blues. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. I mean, it's great because like it's a welcome change to the ear, to listening. Yeah. When after a barrage of notes, and then suddenly you get this nice juicy bend going. Yeah. And then it just held.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it kind of gives it's an interesting shift, and it also kind of gives your brain an opportunity to process what just happened and what might be coming up next. And it kind of puts you on the edge of your seat, because it's like, wait a minute, he's doing something different now.
Right.
What's that? You know, I always love the change up.
Right.
That's the only way I can know how to describe it is the change up, and it can be anything: low to high, fast to slow, dark to bright.
Yeah,
you know,
that's contrast.
Yeah, just contrast all the time, man. And it's like finding those things that work together, back and forth, and build. You know, like in a solo, for example.
Right,
you know, like just taking a solo all the way.
Right, because if you relate it to color, like a whole barrage of notes, then it's just black.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
As opposed to like something colorful or something like this, where there's this
exactly. You throw
interesting.
You throw some red in there, man.
Yeah.
You know,
red,
fuchsia,
white,
little green,
fusion,
man.
Yeah,
right?
pink.
Yeah, exactly, man. Just pepper it all in there, man.
Yeah. Hi there, Perfecto here from the future, and this is just a quick break to time travel back to 42 Gear Street in Germany for a quick word from this video sponsor, Sweetwater. I am in Henning's backyard, or Henning's brother's backyard, to be more precise, and I figured this would be a good time to tell you all about this video's sponsor, Sweetwater, who have kindly sent me this LICKS 5 terabyte rugged external hard drive. Now, this is rugged for a reason, because you can drop it from a 4-foot height, not any higher, and it will survive that fall because of all this beautiful orange rubber bumpers. It's also rugged because it is kind of not waterproof, but spill proof or splash proof. And to help with the splashy, we have a wild Henning poly in the splishy splashy. Can you do a splishy splashy over this? We will plug this into the hotel later and see if it still works. But as you can see, it is splashed on, and I am not worried in the lightest because LICKS also offers some data protection along with the purchase of these hard drives. Okay. Since then, I have traveled to different parts of the world with this rugged external hard drive. Twice to Germany for 42 Gear Street and Guitar Summit, and even a quick trip to Sao Paulo, Brazil for Tajima's TDT 2023. And the ruggedness of this external hard drive gave me peace of mind that my data is safe. I will put an affiliate link to the LICKS page on the Sweetwater website in the video description. So if you want to pick up your own 5 terabyte rugged external hard drive or check out some of the newer rugged SSDs, please use that link and please use it a lot of times. Help a channel out. And of course, thank you so much, Sweetwater, for being such a great friend and supporter of my channel. Now let's go back to learning Don Carr's sweet licks. Well, let's get into the licks first. So you showed me, well, a lick earlier.
Okay.
So the latest lick that you learned, because because we don't stop learning. It's
guys nonstop.
Yeah, and this is why I ask people, players for their pet licks, because it's a peek into something that's out of my comfort zone, and it's also a way for me to see how the other people think and see what I can grab.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that's what we do. We kind of borrow, and then you like. I just think of like my brain as the filter, and you've got this giant catcher, you know, and everything falls in there, but your brain filters it.
Yeah.
So when
it's
you
a funnel.
Right. Exactly. So when you learn something from somebody, you still make it your own.
Right.
I mean, you can. You know, a lot of people copy exactly, but the real art is in taking that and going, what can I do with that?
Right, exactly. So, so a little bit of a backstory. This lick you learned from
Paul Gilbert. And funny enough, and we just did this like recording thing with him where he did Holy Diver, right?
Yeah.
So he plays this lick like in the intro, or a version of it.
Yeah.
But I like to do all the harmonic permutation stuff with it too. You know, that's the other thing I like to do. But for my uses. I liked it. I like the major version, like the first thing I showed you, right? Mm-hmm. So that's that. We'll just do it. We'll do it in F. Yeah. You know, so it's the lick is. So it makes kind of like a nice little sequency kind of like kind of sounds almost synthesizer-y in a way. Yeah. So it's interesting that now we were talking about this with the picking thing. I like to do it hybrid picked, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Because I've played hybrid pick stuff forever, and it's just kind of my go-to. But also, I like it because it keeps the notes a little cleaner. You've got that extra mute, right, with this finger, you know. And also, it decreases the pick drag thing. Like you don't have to bounce around or find your way across a string when you've got a difficult skip. It's just right there.
Right.
You know, so this lick is kind of perfect for that.
Okay, let's show that again. I'm going to give them the close up.
You want a fast version or a slow version?
Let's do fast and then slow.
Okay, so fast. So it's a sixes, you know, right? It's a six tuplet. So it's. So hammer, pull, hammer, pull.
Then let's show the right hand.
Yeah. So you can do right. So if you want to pick, just pick. But I'm going.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Man, I see you sweeping instantly, which is
Yeah.
great because when you've got 2 or 3 in a row, why not? Right?
Yes, exactly.
You're economy picking at that
economy
point.
economy pick.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Let me just. Because he does. So I'm just trying because I cut my teeth on Paul Gilbert's Intense Rock. Right. And he does something similar, but
Yeah.
it's all like
Yeah, right.
like
Right.
string skipping.
Yep.
But you made it you put it in a finger where you barely need to stretch, but it's still a wide interval lick.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, because you've got this. You
Yeah,
got that
yeah.
whole octave there, you know.
Yeah.
And the fifth on the top, you know,
Yeah.
or the fourth. I mean, sorry.
Or-
You get that right?
Yeah,
That's a good one. There you go,
Yeah,
man.
that's probably
Yeah.
that's also like something that Paul would do.
Right.
Yeah.
That's perfect, man. And he had a minor version of it, and I'll have to watch the video again to figure what it is because that's like a major. So he had something where it was like, man, I'd have to watch it again to see how he fingered it. But he's starting with the 2, right?
Yeah.
Like if you've got say you're F minor,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Say it's F minor, so. It's the instead of 1 to 2, it's like 2 to minor 3.
Okay. Oh, okay. 2 to minus 3. Let's see. G.
But it's that. It's still that same 6 lick, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Six.
I'm not. Yeah,
So
and maybe it started with the 1 even. It might be that.
Yeah. So just flat the third.
Yeah. You just gotta refinger it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That kind of sucks though.
He does a lot of he moves the index finger a lot.
Oh, right. Yeah, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There. He does a lot of this.
That's probably what the lick is. And so
Right.
the major version, but it's funny because I needed it for a particular tune,
Right.
that I was playing in a band. We're playing Beginnings by Chicago, and I got a big long solo at the end, and the whole thing is.
Okay.
Right, it's just that parallel motion like that. So I was going. Right? Yeah. So it's like
so now it's like
wow.
now it sounds like a synth line.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's where he got it because I'm a huge Paul Gilbert nut.
Yeah.
And in hunting down all his interviews.
Yeah.
You know he has a big vocabulary of songs.
Oh,
right?
it's ridiculous, man. I mean, like every time he's here and we're working together, if there's any downtime, we immediately start talking about pop songs.
Yeah.
Because we're like the same age, so it's like, you know, we all grew up with the same stuff.
Right.
And we're always talking about like we got into this thing. It's like chords that or songs that have a chord progression that moves by a minor third.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, but like, you know, minor chord up a minor third or down a minor third or whatever.
Yeah.
We got into that whole. He's like, man, that's a weird. How do you make that work?
Exactly. It's the Light My Fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was where we started.
Yeah.
Where we started with Light My Fire.
Yeah.
And I was telling him I'm in a trio and we do like a kind of like slow, kind of funky version of it.
Okay.
And so that's fun to solo over.
Right.
Because it's, you know, you can play it as two static chords, but you can also kind of blend the two chords together.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and because it's really almost like major to minor.
Right,
Really, when
exactly.
you think about
relative.
it. You know, yeah.
Yeah.
Or but it ends up being like minor to major.
Yeah,
you know.
relative to parallel or
Yeah.
parallel to
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, either way, right. It works both ways.
Works both ways.
So you really get that blend, you know. So we got into that. So anyway, sorry, sidetracked you. But yes,
No, that's all right.
But that's the kind of that's Paul though.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. You're dead on, man.
Yeah. And he used to write for guitar player like little columns.
Yeah.
And all his lessons were, I figured out Lamb Lies Down on Broadway or whatever.
Right.
Yes keyboard lick and it's that stuff.
And it's all that stuff that sounds like arpeggios. That sounds like, you know, stuff that lays great on a keyboard.
Right,
You
exactly.
know?
Or ones that are generated by arpeggiators. Except that he plays it just as fast.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Because it's Paul, man. Good grief. That guy, man.
It's he's amazing.
Have you heard his so he kind of came through the Mike Varney spotlight thing in guitar.
Yes.
Have you heard like when you could correspond with him back then, right?
Yeah.
And through Guitar Player, it was like write to Mike Varney or write to Paul Gilbert or whatever, and he'll send you like his demo tape that he sent to Mike.
Right.
Have you ever heard that?
I have not.
Man, since you're a big Paul Gilbert nut, I'll have to let you hear it, man.
Okay.
Because somebody that I know here got it back then.
Oh, wow.
And gave it to me. He said, this is on cassette tape. It's falling apart. So I put it on Pro Tools and made him a nice MP3 copy of it. Yeah.
Yeah, how was it?
So it's ridiculous. It's like Paul at like 16 years old going, doing what he's doing right now. It's like, we didn't stand a chance. Right?
Yeah, I know. And did he tell you about his band in LA during GIT? They would have gigs and they would play Stump the Band. Audience would call out songs and Stump the Band.
Yeah, right.
And he'd know everything.
Yeah, he would always know it, man.
Yeah.
Great, big, huge Beatles fanatic.
Yeah,
That
Todd
helps.
Rundgren.
That helps a lot, man, because there's your chordal knowledge right there, man.
Right.
Definitely.
Well, chordal knowledge, what's your favorite chord?
Oh my God, my favorite chord.
Yeah.
Man, that's really hard to say. Well, this is funny.
Let's
No, okay.
3 chords.
I'll give you a couple.
Okay.
I'll give you a couple.
Yeah.
So this is the one I get made fun of for all the time, this minor 11 chord. Because I'll just grab it, somewhere, and other guitar players are like, "Oh God, really?" But I love that chord though, man. I just love that. Because you've got plenty of dissonance, but you've also got plenty of space, right?
Right.
You got the 11 on the top and the root on the bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
I usually play that with the open E. Because I like that.
Yeah.
But this is very pretty too.
Yeah. That kind of gives you the full. Man, another one that I like. This is like the dumbest fingering. But here's where I started. I went, man, I need a 6/9 major 7 with a flat 5, and I'm like doing all this stuff, and I went, oh. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 6/9 major 7,
sharp
11
with it over E.
Over E, yeah, right. And so it's right here. Right?
Yes.
The E's right there. So that translates to anything.
Yeah,
All of a
yeah.
sudden it's a bar chord now, and you can play it anywhere.
Yeah,
Right?
and you have the major 7 there
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Isn't that a great one, man?
Yeah. Well, speaking of 6/9, that's actually my favorite chord too.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
but I dropped the root.
Oh, okay.
And and we were talking about fake jazz earlier.
Yeah. Right.
My first video for Sweetwater was how to fake jazz with just 1 chord shape.
That's a good one though, man.
And this is it.
Dude, that's your McCoy Tyner chord right there.
Oh,
man.
okay.
You know, just straight fours, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
I do that all the time.
It
man.
does. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great shape, man. And then if you like, and then
Yeah.
right, you throw a couple extra shapes in there, a diminished shape leading into like a 7th shape.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. In that video, I used it to play giant steps.
There you go.
I forget, but it's the whole thing.
Yeah, right.
It's just
it's
grab that
great,
chord and make sure the top note is the melody
It's the
note.
melody. That's funny.
Yeah, and then it's the.
You're a bossa expert. All of a sudden, 1 chord bossa.
I showed it to a bunch of jazz guys, and they're just going, ah.
It's like, dang it, I hate that works, but it works.
Exactly.
But you know what though? It's funny though, man, because when I get into like, you know, there's one band that I play, and we do a bunch of like kind of long vamps, and it gets into that sort of modal kind of like.
Oh, yeah.
It gets very into like that, like the Coltrane
Coltrane,
era kind of modal stuff, right?
Yeah, this.
So you know. Right, you've got that kind of sound.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that's your shape, man.
No, that's it. Exactly.
Right? You know?
That's exactly
And then,
it.
yeah, and if you really, you end up hanging on a chord, you might want to make sure you got the right notes in it. But if you're passing through, it's not so bad.
It's not so
And then
bad.
you can also even, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Fake jazz.
Jazz adjacent.
Jazz adjacent.
Jazz adjacent.
That's what we were calling it earlier. Jazz adjacent.
Jazz adjacent.
Like I said, I'm like a conscientious observer to jazz. Like, got my binoculars out, going, yeah, I see jazz. I see you over there. I got you.
Yeah. That's amazing. Okay, so now let's go to the country stuff.
Yeah, the chicken picking thing.
Yeah, because that's the one that the Rig Builders was a country episode.
Yeah,
basically,
right,
and that's
right.
where my ears pricked up when you started playing. It's like, oh, I need to do that because.
It's that whole genre is its own vocabulary set.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Its own. It's I'm just saying 12 notes, but it's the arrangements of those 12 notes and the
treatment,
and even and the treatment of it.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things that you'll find that can cross over, especially from just basic blues stuff or blues rock even.
Right.
But excuse me. But there's there's also specific things that make it sound the way it sounds.
Right.
And part of that is the technique. That whole the James Burton.
Right.
That whole thing.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
I'm gonna give everybody like a close up of that.
Man.
Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, do it. Nice. I got the what do you call it? I don't know if I told you this, but when I listen to country players, that stuff and bluegrass, I hold my breath. I can't keep up, and when I try to play it, it's the same thing. I hold my breath, and then when I start messing up, that's when I realize that I need air, because it sounds so relentless and just it's like a roller coaster, but that doesn't end. You know?
Yeah, because the lines are very snaky, and part of that is the rhythmic displacement sort of thing. 'Cause it's like, so if you've got 16th notes, groups of 3.
Yeah.
Now that's the swing thing, right?
Right.
That's kind of like a swing era sort of concept. But the minute you turn that into a train groove, you take the shuffle out of it, you know, right? Turn it into a train groove and it's straight notes, you know.
Yeah.
So like. Right, you know, so the accents change all the time.
Yeah. And then the train groove anchors it.
Yeah, and the straight 16th thing anchors it, and as long as you keep track of where your downbeats are and where how you're displacing over the bar line and stuff, you know, that's another thing that really helped me out a lot. Is I was a snare drummer in marching band in high school. I was a section leader, and so we got into really got into that. But the whole grouping of 16 notes, and of course keeping everything tight, that was another thing. But the understanding of the grouping of 16 notes, the one E and a whole, just that whole concept, and left, right, translates totally guitar, down, up, you know, right?
Yeah,
so it's the same sort of thing, and then you start, and with drums, you don't have held notes, but you have accent patterns, right? And so that's really all this is accent patterns. It's just a...
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right. That's all it really is, man.
Okay.
And it's just and a lot of that started with the banjo thing because banjo's 3 fingers, right?
Right.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Yeah. So it's this 3 against 4.
Yeah,
feel.
it's the 3 against 4 thing a lot, you know. So you get that, and then when you even though you're not technically accenting like a drum, but the shape of the line creates the accent, right? You know, so you got that. So there's that. That's why that's that roller coaster thing.
Right.
Because it feels like it never lands, and every once in a while it does, and then you're back on the roller coaster again.
And then and my other question too is, well, since we're on the straight 16th note things, right?
Yeah.
I hear a lot of like change ups and turnarounds in the country lines.
Yeah.
Because you can't fit like pentatonic 5 notes over 4, right?
Yeah, right.
Or 7 over an 8th note.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So how do you work in your turnaround so that you always land on the correct note?
Right. Yeah. Because see, now that's kind of for me. I think everybody probably approaches that part of it differently.
Okay.
Maybe some people less consciously than others, but for me, that goes back to the jazz thing because the way you learn to play changes is it's the target note, right? It's the place you're headed to, right? And so what do you do getting there?
Right.
You're always looking at the next destination. So that's kind of what I'm doing. So I'm thinking, so like if we're playing, I'm looking at, you know, like we're like here we are in the music. Yeah. I'm looking here, right? I'm looking 2 or 4 or 8 sometimes bars ahead, going, I'm going to end up here, and we're going to take this little jig jog getting there, but this is where I'm going to end up. Right. So that's kind of how I keep track of it anyway. You know.
Yeah. And I can do that on anything else except country. Yeah, because if I try to fake it.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't sound authentic. It doesn't. It's like, look at this guy. What are you trying to do?
Oh man! But you know, I know what you're saying though, and that's really just kind of like the vocabulary in and of itself.
Right.
Man, that's where that going to see Brent and actually, you know, whoever this was in the world out there that did this, God bless you. Somebody like recorded like the best of over like a week of Brent. And put it on they had a Marantz, you know, the old Marantz cassette player, sitting right in front of Brent's amp, so you could hear the band, but you mostly hear Brent.
Yeah.
And then they recorded night after night after night after night, and then edited it all down into a 90-minute cassette. Took the best parts and cut it together, and that was like, dude, that was my country Bible right there, man. That was all the Brent licks before Brent was Brent. I mean, man, I've told Brent that, but I've never told him in that extreme level. I've just said, man, I learned a lot from you. The times we worked together, or whatever, because I don't want to be the super fanboy. Dude, I learned to play country guitar from you, but it's the truth, man. It really is. That's kind of where I got the bones of what I'm doing. Obviously I don't sound like him, but you know what I mean. But that's where I got the bones of what I do from him.
Well, show me. Show me two of them.
Here's good. Here's a good one, man. Right, that's a really good one.
Yeah. Okay, so
that's kind of got a whole bunch of information in it, right?
Okay. Okay, and then let's do the right hand. Okay, one more time, different angle.
I think I played a G one time instead of an E on that on the lick that went back up. But I mean, it works either way, right?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna attempt it, but not for too long, because I know it's it's gonna take me a while.
So it's
see, that's the thing, because I would tend to. Which is the blues thing, right?
Right.
But there's always like a skip in it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. In classical terms, that's called a cambiata.
Right.
Skip in a step.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So those unisons are a big thing too. Right? That's another one of those, man. Oh yeah, that's the Danny Gatton lick.
Yes.
Those kind of things, man.
Yeah. So,
and then you can play D or G or E on that one note.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you grab.
Right. Yeah. Whatever you feel like, or however you want the line to sound.
Okay.
Yeah. You want a big jump in it, or if you want to just want it to keep moving downward.
Okay. Now let's get something like higher up.
Okay. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's another one. This is like the vocabulary stuff that I was talking about.
Right.
So to where it's like, these are the kind of things that you don't do as a blues player or a rock player.
Yes, exactly.
But they work out great. So C.
Okay, one more time. Wide shot. Left hand. And right hand. So let's see.
Yeah, you start with the fourth, right? The G and the C.
So
yeah, it's almost like an organ lick.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
I do that a lot.
Yeah.
That's me, man. Right, so that leads, because when you slide like that, it leads you into the next thing. Again, kind of back to that target tone, things like where are we headed?
Right.
The
country licks that I have somewhat in my vocabulary are the little pedal steel licks.
Yeah. Man, here's like the nice thing about that lick,
Yeah.
Right? There's so much you can do with.
Yeah.
I'm running out of room. I'm running out of room.
Okay, hold on. Let me grab that one.
That's a good one. Another kind of pedal steelish, you know.
Right.
That's another one.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I forgot what I was doing now. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. It's funny because I put a song out sometime last year with a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
It's a heavy metal song. And in that song, I was playing on an Explorer guitar with a Floyd Rose.
Yeah.
I did that.
There you go.
And it's with a Floyd Rose, it sounds more, or with a whammy bar floating.
Yeah.
It's a little more dissonant.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, when it floats, when it pulls down, man, you get some of that. You get some of that, like, some of the.
Yeah, like that. You know, or the that stuff.
Yeah.
But over F sharp minor.
Yeah, great, man. That's great. That's me. That's like what you're talking about. That is so me. That's hilarious, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah, just like taking something that's completely out of context and throwing it in a different context and making people go, "What was that?"
Yeah, and it's like, oh, that's so cool. It's new. And play it on the telly. It's a pedal steel lick.
Right.
That's amazing.
Man, those are really good because you've got like, let me see. We'll do E.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah.
Right? So you can kind of do that all, just follow the whole chord, right?
Yeah.
So all you got to think about is where you're going with the bend, right?
Okay. Hold on. Let's do that again.
Yeah. Or you can.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of ways to resolve that.
Yeah.
Because by the time you've extrapolated all those notes, you can throw throw the blue note in there.
Right. There you go.
It still works,
Yeah.
So.
I love that stuff so much.
Yeah.
It's like when on a blues note, it would be instead of going, I would go.
Yeah, right.
It's
exactly.
It's just more.
Yeah.
Just more like more.
Yeah.
more,
exactly. With distortion, you definitely get that anytime you got that that tritone going. It's pretty rude, man. And then a third to a tritone, it's like.
And then bring it down to the flat 7.
Yeah.
It's like Well, we can spend all day talking licks, but
clearly.
Yeah, but we can do this again.
Yeah,
next time we visit.
Let's do, man. Let's do anytime you want. Hey, man, and for what it's worth, at sweetwater.com, when we were locked down, COVID at home, it was like, hey, can you guys shoot some content at home? So I just threw my phone up and I did like 6 chicken picking.
Oh, I'm going to look at
something called Chicken Picking 101.
Yeah.
So just
I'm going to look at that up.
So I just it's kind of progressive. Starts very beginner and kind of gets into different territories. So so that's good. That might be, if somebody's interested in this kind of thing, that might be a good primer or a good help. Something to watch anyway.
Yeah. So prepare to go down that rabbit hole. Okay, man. Don, thank you so much.
Oh, perfecto. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And thank you to Sweetwater for bringing me to GearFest, for allowing me to dip in and be immersed in this wonderful, wonderful opportunity. So I will have all the links to Don's socials and all your stuff. He doesn't post much on IG, so if we encourage him. I hope you enjoyed this, and do all the good things like share and subscribe, and check out the video description for everything Sweetwater GearFest 2023. Okay, bye guys, and go grab your guitar and play something, because you all know the drill. Practice makes
perfecto.
Yeah,
indeed.
And we didn't rehearse that.
We did not.
Okay, bye.